We are expecting our firstborn in 6 weeks, and the family is making plans to travel for the birth. I am totally okay with this and don't really care about having an audience. I am very close to my husband's family and only want what's best for everyone. Here's my problem. My mother-in-law, who is 59 years old, is a major hypochondriac, and any strong feelings turn into urgent trips to the doctor. She has already missed out on significant milestones because she gave into her anxiety and feelings of unease. This is something the entire family accommodates, understanding that at the end of the day, it's her loss. However, an undertone that no one acknowledges is that the family also shares in her fears as they're happening. She'll get everyone worked up about her health scares, and even though they handle those feelings, it is something to handle. Because of this, we agreed that my mother-in-law would meet the baby in a few weeks' time so that the attention doesn't end up turning to her when I'm literally giving birth or directly postpartum. She is convinced, as she always is, that she won't have a health scare and that this time, for the first time, she'll be able to manage herself independently. Up until today, that wasn't good enough for my husband, who knows himself and knows that the second his mother feels ill, he can't help but worry. I just got a phone call, last-minute change of plans, my mother-in-law is coming. I have such mixed feelings. I love her, she's like a mother to me, and I do want her at the birth. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to be sharing care and attention in a way that feels supremely unfair. I thought I had shared these feelings already, but all of a sudden my husband is surprised that I would think that the attention won't be on me and the newborn, and that attention is even something that can't be shared. But in this instance, I feel like it can't be. It is worth noting that I'm someone with a lot of trauma around not being tended to, and have a personal history of having to be the strongest one in the room, even when care was warranted. I don't know what to do. I may be awash with hormones, but I know that if my mother-in-law comes, there are going to be moments where her well-being is the main focus, and I'm anticipating how that will feel. I can't help but feel resentful already. Should I just allow this to proceed as I know it will and deal with my own feelings then? Should I uninvite my husband's mother from the birth? There feel like no way forward, and I'm upset that I'm the one having to deal with this now, instead of my husband being on it. Then again, I understand wanting your mother at the birth of your child. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are about to become a mother. You haven't given birth before. I hope you know that there is going to be trauma for you, and likely the experience of birth will be traumatic for somebody like your mother-in-law to watch. But as you are about to become a mother, you need to get a shiny new spine. Your husband should step up to the plate, but as he's been a baby and his mommy for a long time, it's not likely he will. This is your birth. You'll be the one delivering a baby. No one else should have any input into your birth plan except you and your husband. You come second to you. If you don't stand up to this ridiculous circus now, what's it going to be like for your child and for you down the road? This does not sound like a healthy atmosphere for you or your child. Put your foot down now. Don't take no for an answer and just tell them the situation is not open to discussion. Tell the hospital that you and your husband are the only people who are involved in the delivery room, and that for 24 hours afterwards, you do not want any visitors at all, and then you'll be saying who gets to come in and how long they stay for. You have got this. Comment 2. This is your firstborn, so you don't realize yet how vulnerable you're going to feel in the delivery room. Trust me when I tell you, you won't want an audience. More to the point, infection 19 isn't over. RSV is a big problem, and even minus the nature of childbirth, it's just not wise to have that many breathing bodies in the room with you when you deliver. It should be you, your husband, the medical staff, and no one else. Mother-in-law can wait outside with the rest of the family, and once you get home with the baby, she can interact to the degree her health allows. If she decides to have a spell and make it all about herself, your husband can deal with it while you focus on the baby. Also, just so you're not blindsided, once the baby is outside your body, almost no attention will be paid to you. Unless you have a medical problem, you can expect even the doctors and nurses to quickly turn all their attention to the baby. The same will be true of your spouse and his family, so prepare yourself to feel like the second fiddle. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a rough couple of weeks since my last post, and I've got an update that's been nothing short of a roller coaster. So buckle up, because here we go. After I posted last time, things took a turn I didn't expect. My mother-in-law, bless her heart, decided to come early despite our previous agreement. She showed up at our doorstep with bags in hand, ready to support us. I was torn between frustration and appreciation, but I welcomed her in. Now, let's rewind a bit. My mother-in-law has always been the type to worry about her health excessively. I remember when my husband and I first started dating, she would call him in a panic over a new symptom she'd discovered. It was a pattern that had been going on for years, and it was something my husband had grown to handle with a mix of concern and exasperation. Back to the present, her arrival was surprisingly smooth at first. She was on her best behavior, trying not to step on any toes. But as the days passed, the familiar pattern emerged. She started mentioning a strange feeling in her chest, a tightness that she couldn't shake off. My husband, who's always been the rock in his family, immediately switched into caretaker mode. I watched as the focus shifted from our upcoming birth to her potential health crisis. It was exactly what I feared. I felt invisible in my own home, my own pregnancy overshadowed by her ailments. It was a tough pill to swallow, especially considering my own history of being overlooked in times of need. But then, the twist came. One evening, as we were all sitting down for dinner, my mother-in-law clutched her chest and collapsed. It was the most terrifying moment of my life. We called an ambulance, and she was rushed to the hospital. It turned out she wasn't faking or exaggerating this time. She had a mild heart attack. The guilt hit me like a ton of bricks. Here I was, resenting her for something that was actually happening. My husband was beside himself with worry, and I felt awful for ever doubting the severity of her condition. While she was recovering in the hospital, my husband and I had a heart-to-heart. He admitted that he'd been blind to my feelings and the stress this situation was putting on me. He promised to be more attentive and supportive, acknowledging that I needed to be the priority right now. As the days went by, my mother-in-law's condition stabilized, and she was deeply apologetic for the chaos she'd caused. She insisted we focus on the baby and not on her, a complete 180 from her usual behavior. And then, just when we thought we could breathe a sigh of relief, I went into labor. It was a whirlwind of emotions, and in the midst of it all, my mother-in-law was discharged from the hospital. She wanted to be there for the birth, but we all knew it wasn't possible. She was still too weak, and the risk was too high. So there we were, my husband and I in the delivery room, bringing our beautiful baby into the world. It was a moment of pure joy mixed with a tinge of sadness that not everyone could be there. Now, as I sit here with our newborn in my arms, I can't help but feel a bittersweet sense of peace. My mother-in-law is recovering well, and she's already head over heels in love with her grandchild. She's promised to take better care of herself, and I believe her. My husband has been incredible, juggling his concern for his mother with his duties as a new dad. He's been my rock, and I've never felt more loved and supported. As for me, I'm learning to navigate this new chapter in our lives, one that's filled with late-night feedings, diaper changes, and the most incredible love I've ever known. It's not the smooth start I'd hoped for, but it's our story, and I wouldn't change a thing. Fiancé saves nudes of his exes and looks up other girls on social media, but then I find him at the bar with one of them. Oh boy. I'm pregnant. I, 25-year-old female, have been with my fiancé, 28-year-old male, for 2 years. We've known each other for 4 years and got engaged last May. A little background information. When we got together, everyone kept telling me that they wouldn't expect someone like me to be with someone like him because I'm attractive and he's not. We fell in love quickly, and he gave me the key to his house a week or two into serious talking and spending time together, so I moved in with him. Fast forward 6 months into the relationship, and I get this gut feeling I need to check his phone while he's in the shower. Found an entire album of saved corn videos and pictures, along with unclothed pictures of his past partners and friends that were saved literally a few days prior to me checking his phone, all the way back to when we first got together. He had liked other girls' pictures on social media using heart reactions or the care react, but I always had to beg him to look at and like mine. Didn't find any pictures of us or selfies, nudes I've sent him. He said, "It's because I haven't lost you yet." He admitted he was deleting conversations with an ex whom he's had a long-term relationship with, but it was a casual conversation and all the pictures he saved recently were actually taken before we got together. I messaged the ex, and she confirmed that he had actually messaged her to say that he's in a committed relationship and was going to cut her off finally, and she wished him well. I'd like to believe she was being honest. Half of my friends said that we should try to work things out, and he's got weird attachment issues that probably need therapy, while the other half said get rid of him. Through discussion, he agreed to delete all photos and videos, and ended up deleting the social media apps off his phone. Since the new year, I've been talking to him about how excited I am for our wedding in August. I started to pick up on the fact that he isn't as thrilled as I am. Went through his phone today and found that he was on social media again, repeatedly looking up a handful of girls he's been with or liked, from November through 2 days ago. Upon confrontation, he stated that he's been purposefully doing that in hopes I'd go through his phone again and end our relationship. He says that he loves and cares about me, but thinks I'm using him. He goes on to say that he has so many deep-rooted issues from his childhood that he's still trying to figure out, and he doesn't know why he looked up those girls because it's an old habit. He says he's open to trying therapy, but he's literally never shared anything about his past with me. Not his family dynamics or personal relationships. My heart hurts and still never fully healed from the first time. But I do love him. I'm now scared to get married because I feel like he'll try to get me to divorce him, but I'm also scared of starting over. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Serious. This is how you want to spend the rest of your lives together, with him trying to force you to be the bad guy by mistreating you until you leave. When someone is this committed to making their partner do the dirty work of ending the relationship, there's very few depths they won't sink to just so they can say they didn't end things. Less formal. Look, this is a chicken shit dude with a cowardly heart and a cornball attitude. Save yourself the time, heartache, sanity, and move on. It's what his punk butt wants. He said so himself. Comment 2. No idiots here. He's broken. He's not ready for a real relationship. If it's a test, it's stupid. If it's a cry for help, it's stupid. Adults use their words and don't do stupid shit like this. He needs to get well, then he can be in a relationship. It won't be with you because you'll have moved on. So call it off, give back the ring, and just be for a year. Think about what you want in a partner. Don't settle. Don't make excuses for what a man lacks. Don't fall in love with potential. Don't pour a gallon of love into a 12-ounce man. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a week since I updated you all on the situation with my fiance, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster. So after I found out he was back on social media, looking up girls he used to be with, we had a long talk. I mean, it was one of those deep, emotional conversations where everything just spills out. He finally opened up about his childhood, something he's never done before. Turns out his parents had a really messy divorce when he was young, and it left him with some serious trust issues. He admitted that he's always felt like he wasn't good enough, which is why he kept those old photos and videos as a sort of security blanket. I felt for him, I really did, but understanding his past didn't excuse his actions. We decided that therapy was the best step forward, and he promised he'd start looking for a therapist right away. I thought we were making progress, but then, 2 days later, I caught him in a lie. He told me he had an appointment with a therapist, but when I asked how it went, he got all defensive. I did a little digging and found out he never went. He was actually at a bar with some of his old friends, including one of the girls he used to like. I was furious. It felt like every time we took a step forward, we took 2 steps back. But here's where things get really crazy. I confronted him about the bar, and he denied it at first. But then he broke down and confessed that he was scared. Scared of therapy, scared of digging up his past, and most of all, scared of losing me. He said he went to the bar to talk to his friends about his fears, and the girl just happened to be there. I didn't know what to believe. My friends were split down the middle again. Some said he was just making excuses, while others thought he was genuinely struggling and needed support. I was torn. I loved him, but I couldn't keep going through this cycle of trust and betrayal. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get more complicated, I found out I was pregnant. It was a total shock. We hadn't been trying, but we hadn't been super careful either. I didn't know how to feel. Happy, scared, confused. It was all swirling around in my head. I told him about the pregnancy, and he was over the moon. He started talking about how this was a sign, how we were meant to be together, and how he was going to change for real this time. He even made an actual therapy appointment. I checked, but the real jaw-dropping moment came when I went to the doctor for a checkup. I ran into one of the girls he used to like, the same one from the bar, and she was pregnant too. My mind was racing with all sorts of thoughts. Was it his? Had he cheated on me again? I confronted him as soon as I got home, and he was just as shocked as I was. He swore up and down that he hadn't been with her, that it was impossible. And then the misunderstanding was cleared up. She overheard us and came over to explain. She was there for her sister, not herself. She wasn't pregnant, it was her sister who was expecting. I felt a mix of relief and embarrassment. I had jumped to conclusions, and I felt terrible about it. He held me, and we both just sat there, absorbing the news. It was a wake-up call for both of us. We realized how fragile our relationship was and how easily things could be misunderstood. So that's where we are now. He started therapy, and we're cautiously optimistic about our future. We're taking it one day at a time, trying to rebuild the trust that's been broken so many times. It's not going to be easy, but we're both committed to trying. Boyfriend confessed he thinks about other women but would never act on it, and it has deeply impacted my self-esteem. I'm constantly plagued by dreams and insecurities, but he surprises me by seeking therapy. Oh boy, my friend mistakes someone else for him. So about 1 to 2 months ago, my boyfriend told me when we were walking home from a club that every day when he sees women, he thinks about having intimacy with them. He said that if I was 100% okay with it, he would want to have intimacy with other women. He said he knows that it would hurt me, so he would never act on these feelings. He said that even though he thinks other women are less attractive than me, it doesn't matter. He still thinks about having intimacy with them, even though he actively thinks that I'm much better. He said it's just his instinct as a man to want to impregnate as many women as possible. He also said that if I told him the same thing, then he would be really mad, and he said that he would never be okay with me sleeping with other men. To be clear, this wasn't an attempt to open up the relationship. We already spoke about that, and from his end, he isn't okay with it either. He said he told me because he wants to be honest, and it makes him feel guilty, but also I know that this is one of the reasons he broke up with his ex. So on the inside, I was really sad. I felt like my heart was pulled out of my chest, and I had that sinking feeling, lol. But I told him that I'm glad he was honest, but I don't want him to be in a relationship where he isn't 100% satisfied. He said he is 99% satisfied, but 1% of him isn't due to these urges. He said he loves me and knows that he is much happier with me compared to him being single and being able to sleep with anyone. It was a long conversation, and it ended in him confirming that being with me is more important to him. I tried my best to be strong, as I do appreciate his honesty, and I wanted to put my feelings aside and assure him that he doesn't need to feel guilty unless he acted on the urges. So the problem is, it's been at least over a month since that conversation, and I can really feel the impact that it's had on my self-esteem. For the last 4 days straight, I've had dreams about him wanting to be with other women, him cheating on me, etc. And these dreams have become frequent. On top of that, I have faces to the girls that he had intimacy with before. I met 2 of them. So my dreams often involve these girls too, and it feels like torture. I just feel a horrible sinking feeling, and I feel like I'm in competition with every other woman on earth now. When I see pretty women especially, I think about how my boyfriend is probably thinking about how he wants to have intimacy with them. I get quite a lot of male attention and can recognize that I'm quite pretty, but him telling me that it doesn't even matter what the girl looks like was even more of a blow to my self-esteem. It's really destroyed my confidence completely, and I think about this every day, and I don't know what can make me feel better or what I can do to restore my confidence. On top of all of this, he frequently makes jokes about wanting to sleep with other women. At first, it was a bit of banter between us, and I'd join in too, but after he told me this, I told him I'm not comfortable with the jokes anymore. He's trying, but the jokes still slip out sometimes. I know that this is a normal thing for guys to feel, so I feel like I'm overreacting, but it has just made me feel awful inside. Is this healthy? Is this normal? What can I do to recover from this and continue our relationship? I love him and he loves me, but this is so hard. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, oh God, just read your other post. This is the boyfriend that has a female best friend who is in love with him, and he wants to have intimacy with every single female with a pulse. Yeah. 1 + 1. Let's bring in your bets, people. Who believes he had intimacy with the best friend, and who believes he is actually loyal? Comment 2. Instinct to want to impregnate as many women as possible. This guy makes jokes about having intimacy with other women while in a relationship. That's so disrespectful. Edit. Please walk away. There are men out there who won't make you feel like shoot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I just had to come back to update you all because, honestly, it's been a rough ride. So after that heart-to-heart with my boyfriend about his wandering eye, things were a bit tense, but we were managing. I was trying to rebuild my confidence, and he was trying to keep his thoughts to himself. But then, 3 days ago, something happened that I did not see coming. We were at a mutual friend's birthday party, and everything was going fine until I caught him staring a little too long at one of my friends. I tried to brush it off, but it was like a punch to the gut, bringing back all those insecurities. Later that night, we had a huge fight about it. He insisted he was just zoning out, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. The next day, he surprised me with a romantic dinner at home, apologizing for everything and reiterating how much I meant to him. It was sweet, and for a moment, I felt like we were back on track. But then, as we were clearing the dishes, his phone buzzed with a message from his ex, the same ex he had broken up with because of these issues. My heart sank. I confronted him, and he quickly explained that she had reached out to him for closure on their past relationship. He showed me the messages and it was true, but it still stung. He promised there was nothing to worry about, and I wanted to believe him. The following day, I was still feeling uneasy, so I decided to meet up with a friend to get my mind off things. As we were chatting, she mentioned she had seen my boyfriend at a coffee shop earlier that week, looking cozy with a woman she didn't recognize. My heart stopped. Could it be the ex, or someone new? I rushed home to confront him, and that's when the misunderstanding unfolded. He explained that the woman was actually a real estate agent. We had talked about moving in together, and he wanted to surprise me by looking at apartments. He showed me the listings they had discussed, and I felt a mix of relief and embarrassment. But the surprises didn't end there. He then confessed that he had been feeling guilty about his thoughts and had started seeing a therapist to work through his issues. He wanted to be better for me, for us. I was shocked. It was a step I never expected him to take, and it showed me how serious he was about our relationship. As we talked more, he opened up about his fears and insecurities, things he had never shared before. It turns out his father had been unfaithful to his mother, and it had left a deep impact on him. He was terrified of turning into his father and hurting me in the process. We spent the rest of the night talking and holding each other, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like we were truly connecting. It was a moment of vulnerability that brought us closer. But just when I thought we were on the path to recovery, another curveball was thrown our way. Yesterday, I got a message from the same friend who had seen him at the coffee shop. She apologized profusely, saying she had made a mistake. The man she saw wasn't my boyfriend. It was his doppelganger, someone who looked strikingly similar to him. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. Here I was, ready to accuse him of cheating, and it wasn't even him. I told him about the mix-up, and we both had a good laugh. It was a light moment in the midst of our heavy situation. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.